Hello.
Morning.
Good morning. We're here.
Hope you are all well. Let's see who's in the chat. Whoops, sorry.
How are everybody? Devin. Hello, Devin.
Hi, Devin. My good wife.
Hello, Chana, and hello, El Carpintero. Hello, Bo. Hello, Bo.
We appreciate you coming on. And we're in New York State, so it's 11 o'clock a.m. And it may be a different time where you are. So
we're in the northeast of this country, United States, and we're not the ones that have had the devastating weather, the tornadoes and things like that. Down south of us in other states, in Kentucky and Arkansas,
Kansas.
They've had some devastating, destructive, deadly weather. We don't generally have that up here, but they do down there, so our thoughts are on all the folks down there.
Yes, we hope they're well.
Well, and some of them are not well.
I know, tall, cool woman, she said she was okay. We checked on her.
Oh, no, people.
But if you know of anyone, that needs a shout out, let us know.
Yeah, there have been fatalities.
Yes.
Tremendous amount of destruction. At any rate, we hope where you are is stable enough to go forward.
Steve Benoit is here. Good morning, Steve.
Good
Beverly.
Morning, Steve.
Beverly Harward.
Beverly.
Good morning, lovely people. And you too, Beverly. Thank you for tuning in with us.
Yeah.
Don't forget to give a like. It helps the channel.
Yeah, Vern and Shauna are doing some very wonderful things, keeping the channel moving in a very helpful direction, because it's truly helping. It's helping the cause of all the ones that are trapped in that organization at this point, but who are working their way out.
Mm-hmm.
They're trapped, but they're working their way out of the trap. In other words, we're not continuing to complain about the trap. We're continuing to open the trap and get out with the least amount of damage. There will be damage. That's what a snare is all about. But the best thing is to successfully exit and release your grip from that trap.
Mm-hmm.
And so we are here for others who are doing that. And the ones who are, frankly, the trap. I mean, we're speaking to ones right now. They're Bethel representatives right now that are listening. Mm-hmm. We know some of them. One of them, like the one longtime acquaintance that we know, like Dan Houghton and others like him. They listen, and they freely disclose that they listen. Kentucky.
It's Angelo. Mm-hmm. Angelo said, "Hi everyone. I live in Georgetown, Kentucky, just outside of Lexington. Have been without power since Sunday.
Oh dear.
Still without mobile phone service.
Wow.
Bad storms." Well,
so sorry.
Yeah, very sorry. We appreciate you coming on here.
And this is where neighbors come in. This is where good neighbors come in. And we truly hope that you have some neighbors that are there for you.
Yeah, Justin Fiorenzio. Good morning, and God bless everyone here. Yeah, if you want to let us know where you live, that's always helpful too. Jane?
Because what that does, that can connect you with people right close to you, that you may not even realize that are right there.
We know Jane Spitfire from Georgia. She says, "Hi, Angelo. Sorry about that. I used to live in South Carolina and dealt with those hurricanes."
Yeah.
And Chad Steinmetz, good morning. Traveling to Colorado, always fun to come in.
Good. Welcome.
Yes, welcome everyone. Justin is from Orange County, California.
Hiya, Justin.
I know California gets some weather. They get a lot of rain. They had a lot of snow the other year there, parts of California.
Yeah. And as I was saying, there are ones that are listening from the Watchtower Society, the representatives. I'm glad they're listening. I'm glad you're watching, because frankly, you are among the ones that are leaving. You're leaving because you recognize the truth of that organization. And the truth of that organization is that it was not based on truth. It was based on something else. It was based on control. And it was based on, frankly, seeking slaves, seeking free workers to promote and to grow their organization. Now, why they wanted to grow that organization, why they wanted to make it strong and rich, and why they wanted to build up all the resources, I don't know for sure. I really don't. It doesn't really matter whether I know that or not. All I know is that the ones who've done that, the originators of that organization, and the governments behind them, know what they're doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. They knew people, they knew us, they knew our motivations. And they also had an agenda. And the agenda was to secure workers, unpaid workers and promoters for that organization to amass wealth and money, wealth, power. And I'm even going to say, and also to corrupt the faith and the society that they live in, to actually turn people away from each other, not to connect them, to destroy faith in their God, whoever it is, Jesus Christ, uh, whatever faith that they have is designed to destroy that faith and to build faith in them, the idol of Watchtower, the idol of jw.org. Maybe at some point they'll bring in another idol. I don't know. Because they know that people, unfortunately, are prone to worship idols. They're prone to doing that. Now, I'm not going to judge it and say, oh, it's bad, we shouldn't worship idols. I'm not going to say that. But I'm going to say worshiping idols is like a control factor that they can use, or someone else or anyone can use, to control us and to manipulate us because of our tendency to want to worship an idol. They know that. They knew that. Frankly, now we know that. We know their trick. Their trick is that they know us as if a hunter knows its prey. We were the prey. Just like Nimrod. Nimrod wanted to build his big old tower. Well, he couldn't do it alone. It was just him, a few people. So he said, I need people. I got to get lots of people. I'm going to promise them wonderful things. I'm going to promise them food and security because I can protect them. I'm mighty. And I'm a hunter. And I'll do all the hunting and protecting for them. All they got to do is slave for me. And if someone says to Nimrod, oh, we'd rather not. We don't want to come and do that. Well, then Nimrod was the sort that said, well, look, either you work for me or you're dead. I'm going to kill you. That's Nimrod. He's a mighty hunter. And he was just looking to get his project completed. And the same goes for that Watchtower organization and the government that's behind it. Whatever government that is. Government. And they knew how to grab people in. They knew the strings. They knew the strings. Either that we hear, that going through our ears, that control our eyes, what we see, what we feel. They knew. And so now we know. And we are wise to it. And we're thankful that others are becoming likewise to a beautiful group of people that are sharing this together.
Mhm.
We appreciate that, and we welcome others who are in the organization that are who want to share in that same freedom and enjoyment with each other. We welcome you.
Good morning, Mary. She says shalom, blessings for you. Good morning.
Yeah.
And Wild Wall is here. Justin, we mentioned, and also Jay. Jay's on. He's our moderator.
And I just had a realization this morning. I mean, it's technicality, but we live by technicalities, I guess, sometimes. We're not in that organization anymore. We're no longer in the Watchtower organization. We disassociated from that organization. We wrote them out and told them, please remove us. We don't want any more part. Boom, we're gone. Question becomes, though, someone asks us, so Joe, were you one of Jehovah's Witnesses? I have to answer, absolutely, yes, we were. Question becomes, too, well, are you still one of Jehovah's Witnesses? And I think about it and say, yes, I am. I am still one of Jehovah's Witnesses. Because what we're doing is making people aware of who this Jehovah really is and the effect that he's had on people's lives. So we're still bearing witness to this Jehovah. We're still doing that. We're bearing witness. Of course, it's not the same as it was before. It's based on what we found out to be who this Jehovah really is. In other words, we're not turning our back and saying, well, I don't want to have anything more to do with it. I don't even want to know. No, we're saying, we want to set the matter straight.
Mm-hmm. Oh, just a little side point. And tomorrow night we're going to talk more about it, but we still have that pioneer spirit.
Yeah.
And we don't witness, the way we did, but we are letting people know about Jehovah's Witnesses. And we're not the only ones doing that.
No.
There's a lot of you out there that tell people what it's really like, because people don't know. They only come to their door, maybe they don't even do that anymore, but they may see them at the cart. They don't know about Jehovah's Witnesses.
No. And this spirit, you know where the spirit comes from? This pioneer spirit? It's your spirit. It's yours. It doesn't come down from above. It's your energy. It's your desire. It's your drive. It's your interest. Yours. It's not some spooky, holy thing that comes down and now it's a beautiful magic on you. No, it's your spirit. It's your energy. It's the you who you are that you want to give that makes you who you are. It's yours. And it's a beautiful spirit. And see, that's the kind of spirit that we connect with each other with. And that inspires, it literally inspires us. Spirit inspires, breathing in, that spirit of yours, that spirit of ours, that spirit of theirs, well, it strengthens all of us. And it does especially when we surround ourselves with others like us. And so we hope to do that. I mean, we seek it. We seek inspiration from others. We seek it. And I seek to share whatever we have. And my attitude is, let's not disappoint each other. Let's not disappoint each other. We have it. It's our spirit, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to share that with each other. And for that reason alone, I'm glad that that organization, Jehovah's Witnesses, at least brought people together. At least it got us in connection with each other. It's just that the way they treated the people that they collected together was totally unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. But now we're caring for each other. according to the greatest principles that we have discerned, which are partly in the Bible. And wherever else, there's principles all over the world, way before the Bible, that guide man's love and direction for each other. And the world is a beautiful place. The world is a beautiful place because it contains people who are guided by that spirit and who project that spirit. And as far as I'm concerned, we spoke about this. This is the spiritual paradise when we share it with each other.
Yeah.
This is. And unfortunately, there's many in Watchtower organization that are suffering horribly. It's not a paradise. It's not a spiritual paradise. It's horrible. They're undergoing so much physical abuse, social, emotional, sexual abuse, psychological abuse, trauma. That's not a paradise. No, that's a slave camp. And that's all it's proven to be. They wanted their slaves. They got them. And all the abuse that goes along with it. And now people are escaping from that. We're here to strengthen them. So let's keep speaking things that, not against the organization. They're going to take care of themselves. Everything that comes out of the organization's mouth is going to do them in. We don't have to say a word against that organization. All they have to do is keep speaking, and they're burying themselves. They are burying themselves. We're speaking strength to power, to the love that motivates people to come out. And they are. People are coming out. And what we say is, for the ones who are still in, keep the struggle up to figure out the way you're going to come out. Your exit strategy. The courage that you have to secure, and the courage that you have to display in coming out. Without the courage, you're going to stay a slave. You are going to remain a slave. But with courage, you will gain your freedom. And as far as we're concerned, the paradise that we have right now, it's right now. Every day it's gone a little more because we get closer and closer to our death. We're not going to live forever here. Not going to. I haven't seen anyone around me living forever. Well, I'm not going to either. And neither is you or our dear friends. But we can live now as free people, not as slaves. And that's the choice. That's the choice that people are faced with now, whether they realize it or not. They are faced with a choice whether or not they want to be slaves with false promises or free people amongst each other, enjoying that. And I have to say that we're very thankful, especially now with the meetups that we go to, the friends that we see. We're very thankful.
Yeah, we were talking with JP last night from California, and he went to the Los Angeles meetup yesterday, and he said that there was a spirit there that you don't normally see. Did he call it spirit, or did he call it?
He was JP. He was struck by that a new energy from what he was experiencing.
And same with Wild Wall. We been talking with Wild Wall, and he went to the meetup in South Carolina in Charleston. No, not Charleston. You'll have to remind me where it is. But anyway, North Carolina. There's such a energy, like you said, there. It's not just, oh, hi, how are you? Where are you from? What's your story? What happened to you in the watch? No, this is like, okay, what are you doing now? What do you think is happening to the Watchtower? What's the next step? What can we do? What can we do?
There are people that are realizing they have their future right now in their hands, in front of them. In other words, they're not waiting for some fantasy. They don't feel like slaves anymore. They're free.
Yeah.
And they have that power, the power to exercise and share it with others like that. See, they don't want people to do that.
Mm-mm.
They don't want people to share that with each other because it's
No.
powerful.
That's why
It's
the
very
whole,
powerful.
yeah, that's why the whole disfellowshipping
Mm.
and the whole isolation, for many years
Yeah.
they isolated people, and disfellowship people didn't even talk to disfellowship people.
No.
Now it's like, whether we're PMO, disfellowship, disassociated, we're getting together, we're supporting each other, and we are the large army that the Bible talks about. And also, thank you, Wild Wall. He corrected me. Charlotte, North Carolina. So that was a nice meetup. Thank you. Thank you, Wild Wall.
So I want to just reinforce that. The reason they don't want people to fellowship, so to speak, with disassociated ones or ones who've been disfellowship is because we're a powerful influence in their lives. They'll see something that they want. It's called freedom. They know that. It's a desirable quality in a human's life. Freedom. Freedom to live their life. Well, they don't want that. They don't want their slaves to see that. No, 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 no. No, not my slaves, they say. No. So to all those who are worried and in fear about quote unquote loss, which you will suffer from breaking free from a trap. You will. But you'll also, if you fail to break free from that trap, you will forever lose the freedom that you can only have by being alive in the system, exercising your freedom. If you don't exercise your freedom, you don't have it. And you have a certain amount of time to do it, a certain number of years. If you burn up those years as a slave, you won't have any years to exercise as a free person. You won't. Game over. Game over. So there's still time. There is still time. And it's a beautiful. And your life, even though it could be filled with difficulties, there's no question. My goodness, there's so many difficulties.
Yes. And we all have bad days. We all feel depressed. We all
dear.
feel sad. We miss our loved ones. I was feeling that the other day. We came home from our meetup. It was a real high. And then, back to reality. But, you just get through it. You face it. You go through it. And you get on and you do something good for somebody and you forget about your own troubles.
Yeah, and see, these are deeper emotions of what's real. And what's real is that biological families, we have a biological family. My children, our children are from us. They're our biological family. Well, is that a guarantee that this biological family will retain its special interaction, warm family relations? No, it's no assurance at all. In fact, I mean, just physically, the people may not even look like they come from the same family. Number one, so they may not have any kind of a physical sharing. There's no guarantee there because, see, each one's an individual. Each one carries their own genetics. Maybe they carry family genetics, but they also carry a very unique set of circumstances within themselves. Is there any guarantee that just because we're biological that we're all going to have an affinity? No. Oh my goodness, no. No. There's so many examples where families just absolutely fail to connect. They just don't do it. On the other hand, there's other families, my goodness, such warm, beautiful bonds. It's amazing. No guarantee. There's no guarantee of that. None. You don't know. No one can say, oh, you must have a very good family. You must cultivate it. It has to be. If you don't have it, you're a loser. No, it's like saying, look, you're a loser if you're short. You're a loser if you're short, stocky, and not so good looking. You got to be tall, dark, and handsome. It's like, wait a minute now. Everybody's grown and born different. You know, what kind of hair? No, see, and that's the way it is. And it's the same way with interactions in family. Some families just simply do not get along organically. And I'll ask anyone out there, in your family that you grew up in, did everyone like the same food? Everyone. Or were there some, let's say, certain percentage like the same food, but one or two couldn't stand it? Maybe you loved something, they loathed it, they hated it. What happened? We're all from the same family. What's the problem there? Where's the failure? There's no failure. It's the uniqueness of individuals. And the same goes to for our heart condition. Love of righteousness, love of truth, love for each other, thankfulness, selflessness, selfishness, tendency to be narcissistic, tendency to be giving. There's no assurance. It's not an organic absolute in each family. It's not. It just isn't. And we're finding that now the government has been wanting to put a wedge between the individuals and family because they do not want strong families anymore. No more. Governments do not want strong families. They don't. There was a time when they wanted strong families because they wanted to multiply the people. They wanted people to reproduce, get married young, have lots of children, lots of babies, grow the population. Oh, great. Well, time goes on, and guess what now? Oh, there's too many people. Overpopulation. Overpopulation. Guess what the government says now? Restrict your children. Restrict the number of children we have. How about an abortion? Do abortions if, it doesn't turn out right. Or wars. War is a tremendous way. Go have your sons go kill their sons. It's okay. There are too many people anyway. Can't support them all with jobs. They got to go to war. Things change. At one time when a society fosters families, another time they say, oh, families are bad.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going through that time right now where families are not appreciated. No. Individuals are. Loyal individuals who are loyal to the government or loyal to the religious leaders. Loyal, individual loyalty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's being tested right now. So the question becomes, who are you? Who do you think you are? Whoever you think you are, you need to prove. Otherwise, you're not who you think you are. That's your business. That is quite your business. But that's all you're going to be left with. That knowledge of you. Can't change it in the end. Can't change it. So we have a beautiful time now for that decision and to do that. And there's wonderful people to share it with. There really are. There's others that can talk too. I'm not the only one. So I'm really interested in knowing what you all feel.
Jane Spitfire mentioned this twice, so I looked it up. Are you familiar with the Semmelweis reflex? Semmelweis.
My perfect memory can't remember it, but I remember reading about it, but I can't remember what it is.
Is that how you say it?
Semmelweis?
Semmelweis reflex. It says here, I Googled it. It's a human behavioral tendency to stick to pre-existing beliefs and to reject fresh ideas that contradict them, despite adequate evidence. We aim to familiarize the readers with the term. It has a significant historical background, but also grave clinical implications. So, yes, Jehovah's Witnesses definitely do fall into that background of that reflex.
Oh, sure. What do you think about this?
Hey, Dan.
Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Greetings. You know, we're going to ask the question. It just asked the question.
I think you got to lower something.
Yeah, you got something on in the background, I think.
I know I had the T. Yeah.
Oh,
No,
okay.
it's better. Okay.
Now, it's
All
just a question to kick it off. When any of you or us were young, babies,
Yeah.
children, were we open to information? In other words, we heard things. Did we accept it? Did we didn't know anything when we were born. So we were like sponges accepting information. And we wanted more information because we realized, oh boy, I want to know about this. I want to know about that. I need to know more about this. I needed this. I needed that. I want. I want to know. I crave knowledge. At what point does that cease? Where we wall it off and say, that's it, no more. Don't want to hear anything new. Just going to protect everything I know. Does everyone wall off and stop accepting new information? Or do some remain open and continuing to accept new information?
I have some information.
Hi, Peter.
Hello, Pete.
Hello, how you doing? Hey, Dan.
Good, you?
Go ahead, Dan.
So, no, it takes 7 years for the human brain to develop. During that first 7 years of your life, you're going to absorb what you see. You're going to imitate what you see. And it's true that that's the best time to learn a new language, to learn, period. But the human never stops learning and never stops asking questions if you're wise enough.
Oh.
The only reason why you stop taking in information is if someone convinces you that you shouldn't,
Right.
like the organization did. It's not a natural process for any
Right.
human being to stop thinking or stop asking questions. So that they're actually forcing people to live a very unnatural, closed-minded lifestyle.
Right.
And a lot of people do, and you can see the results. The results is when you see them you were also talking about the meetups, how wonderful these meetups are, because people are finally able to not only explore a life that they never did, but also live according to the way they really, really want to live without anybody else's input. So what happens is now, when you get together with them, there's this spirit, there's this wonderful fun that we're having because we are not being controlled what to listen to, what to say, what to think, and what to believe. So, of course, I don't know if that answers your question.
Well,
but
okay. No, I mean, it shares information on our desires. We like to take in. We like to share, and it's not just taking in. It's also sharing what we know. But you mentioned. But see, when the government starts to say, "Hey, look, if you share this information, you're going to get in trouble," or "Hey, look, if you don't share this information, we'll pay you a lot of money." And if you just stick with this story, we'll pay you a lot of money, okay? And the person says, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll promise to stick with this information, so long as you continue to pay me lots of money." And that's one of the motivations. You can get paid off or scared off.
So somebody called me an agent. I go on live streams all the time, different nights. They call me an agent like I'm working for the man. I'm like,
oh yeah,
you haven't really been listening to me too much, have you, buddy?
That's perfect. You're an influencer.
I'd like to share some information that I found, if it's all right. Okay, it's almost like archaic type information. So I'm looking for like I was just kind of curious when the next eclipse is going to be, where the next eclipses are going to be, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to just share my screen. I'm just going to flip my camera around. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I'm going to try to see if I can.
Yeah, we
what
can
you're
see,
seeing.
yes.
Oh, where the X is.
Oh, okay, so look at all the dates. Can you see that? All the
No,
dates, and look at how they're going to do an X right here. There's going to be
Yes.
another X that happens right here, and then there's these two lines that kind of go over here, like, and look at the dates. That all lines up with like Archaic's 2040, doesn't it?
That's wild.
But like you should be able to take the date of that one and the date of that one, and then center it, right? And watch for what's going to happen on that date, and the same thing right here. What's going to happen that's relevant?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that weird?
Well, just like Jason says history not only repeats itself, but it repeats itself precisely. And he's shown it just through because he chronicles it. He puts
but can you say, if you look at those two dates, you can almost do in the center, say, hey, what's going to happen on that date right there? Because it's two perfect X's. One's right across Australia, and they both happen before the 2040 date. Anyway, that's just a kind of.
It's interesting. Something to watch.
That was just all right. Sorry for
good. Great. Well, look, this morning too, we have got some great information on religion and its past and its future.
Yes.
And also, interestingly, the same woman that throws on there she goes deeper into what's happening in the Mormon religion, which, let me tell you, is got deeper pockets, and maybe they even got worse habits. And she's blowing the whistle big time. And she says, if I end up dead, it's not because I wanted to.
Yeah, so we're going to show three shorts.
Yeah.
With Brittany.
Brittany's very
Brittany is
helpful.
the ex-Mormon psychologist, and then the last one, the two girls are together. The two women are together,
and they're both ex-Mormons. The other girl's an ex-Mormon as well.
So the first one, maybe we'll do it and then talk about it.
Yeah, this first one, Brittany. She's called No Nonsense Spirituality. That's the name of her channel. No Nonsense Spirituality. Very helpful. So see what you think. Anytime. Thanks for that.
I had a rebellious teenage youth as I was resisting how God was being taught to me, particularly in the For Strength of Youth pamphlet that came out in rebellion that ended up getting me kicked out of my home at the age of 16. I went to my uncle's house, who's a bishop who had a lovely gospel library, discovered kind of nuanced Christianity and nuanced Mormonism, came back to the church after, going to a new place and not taking the sacrament and all of the shame that comes with all of that. Went to BYU, Idaho, got a degree in history education, got married in the temple, wrote a book on Mormon philosophy. There are some things in early Mormonism in theology and philosophy that are super interesting. It's called Mormon Philosophy, a simplified and easy LDS approach to classic philosophical questions. I taught seminary for a little bit. I was not a lazy learner. I was really trying to figure out if there was a way to hold on. I was continually nuancing things and trying to find ways to hold on to the good and, get rid of the baggage. Eventually, I had a faith crisis in 2010. This was before lovely podcasts that help you do this, and I was just on my own in my room reading historical documents and microfilm on my computer, trying to figure out what was going on with polygamy. Lost my faith, continued to stay active in my own nuanced way for a time. Eventually, the distance between me and the church became so great, and I was no longer allowed to teach the youth. I was no longer allowed to teach seminary. I was no longer allowed to pray at church. I was essentially silenced, and I was looking at this community and just thought, there's no more place for me here. And so I left. I was in a mixed faith marriage for a time, and then my husband followed. Now I have an almost doctorate in the future of American religion. I have studied religion and Mormonism and Christianity and faith and spirituality and the science of spirituality and all of that now for almost 20 years. And what I do now is what I did a decade-long journey to try to figure out, which is how to hold all of the good of spirituality, the rituals, the awe, the transcendence, the community, everything that is good about a rich spiritual life of love and structure and morality and ethics and all those things. How to build that for your own life in the most uniquely you way that you can do. And now I help others do that as a spiritual director. And that's me.
Spiritual director. I like that. It's pretty good.
That moment of crisis, the believers are the ones who will turn.
Today in Bullshit Said by Brad Wilcox, he's saying that studies show that when the plane is going down, when the train is going off the tracks, that it's religious people who step in and turn to their neighbor and help their neighbor. And it's non-religious people who, I guess, like step over everyone else in order to accomplish their own selfish goals. So my first question is, what studies is he referring to? I genuinely don't know, because study after study shows that non-religious people show higher signs of compassion than their religious peers, and that can even be seen in children. For example, this study done by the University of California, Berkeley did 3 separate experiments and concluded that there was a link between compassion and generosity that was stronger for those who were identified as being non-religious or less religious. And the religious ground their generosity not in emotion and compassion, but other factors such as doctrine, communal identity, or their reputation. The root of generosity is compassion and the golden rule, which religion actually hinders our ability to tap into that as human beings.
I find that Christians are the most judgmental, and as a Jehovah Witness, I mostly just helped other Jehovah Witness. If you were like a worldly person, I didn't give 2 craps about you, really. So now as a apostate, I help everybody now. I don't give a crap. I don't, I mostly try to help myself, honestly, first, because my power is for me, not for others.
Well, I mean, at P, you're sharing your voice now. You're to help for others as well.
And you help your neighbors.
Yeah.
And so in the Good Samaritan story,
Yeah.
the religious leaders, they walked on the other side of the road.
Yeah. Yeah. They're too good.
But I recognize that now, though, as a Jehovah Witness, I would only primarily help other Jehovah Witnesses, really.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. So here she is rebutting that fella that she said. She didn't like what he said, and it's because what he said is not true.
Are the ones who will turn.
Today in Bullshit Said by Brad Wilcox, he's saying that studies show that when the plane is going down, when the train is going off the tracks, that it's religious people who step in and turn to their neighbor and help their neighbor. And it's non-religious people who, I guess, like step over everyone else in order to accomplish their own selfish goals. So my first question is, what studies is he referring to? I genuinely don't know, because study after study shows that non-religious people show higher signs of compassion than their religious peers, and that can even be seen in children. For example, this study done by the University of California, Berkeley did 3 separate experiments and concluded that there was a link between compassion and generosity that was stronger for those who were identified as being non-religious or less religious.
So the fact that it's in children too, that shows that it's a taught behavior, that it's these religious organizations teaching this somehow. So now the job is for us to figure out how are they doing that, or what is it that they're doing that's causing that, really.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, all you have to do is, if we were brought up to take in knowledge and want more, you have to ask yourself and watch, at what point is someone trying to stop me from doing that? And usually it's school. You go to school, and now all of a sudden you're being tracked for knowledge. And that's why they call it government school system. It's government mandated.
So there's another
Next
video.
one. Good one.
God has always been there. Because if you're saying that a complex thing can just exist and always have existed, well, then you can do that with the universe.
Mhm.
If a complex thing can just exist, then why can't the universe just exist? Because you just did that with God. So people think
Right.
that they're solving the problem when they put the God in the middle of it, but either that God has always existed, which means some things just exist, or something created your God, and then you're back to where you started. So I think this question is fundamentally mysterious. We don't know what consciousness is. We have a problem of hard consciousness. We also have a problem of matter. We don't know what the hell is going on with like quantum theory, and some of it gets counterintuitive. But all of that is this is the magic of reality. The great thing about leaving religion and leaving God behind is you get to actually dig into the real magic, which is what the fuck is going on with this world. That, like, reality, whatever it is more magical and more mysterious than even our religion's explanations of what is going on. And so I don't think a jump into atheism or leaving religion means that you lose magic. It means that you leave behind first century magic to actually dive into the magic of reality in a 21st century conversation with all the science that we have now that they didn't have then.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's turn it. Let's turn up the heat and go straight to hell with our, moral relativism or whatever, and the realities that we make up for ourselves. So, absolutely agree. And yeah, you're adding more complexity to something. Somebody's trying to give you an answer, and now added more complexity. You have to like make a whole new cake now in a new oven and a new kitchen. And I'm just like, I don't need any cake or kitchen right now. So those are definitely a lot of the ideas and realizations that I came to right after I deconstructed Mormonism. And so everything that you're saying, I was like, yes, absolutely, got it. Listening to different, atheists, looking into logical fallacies, seeing if things pass muster and so forth. And then it's like, we can talk about that and be like, logically doesn't make sense. But then it's the living in that reality now without that structure and without, this meaning and purpose that has gotten our species to the point that we're at today, talking into microphones and sharing ideas. So let's get into the nihilism that so often we are confronted with. So I didn't know that there was really a big word for it. I was just like, this sucks. And I thought I was supposed to be happier. It just sucked. And I didn't know that there was philosophy or, expanded reasons around it. And so if you want to just kind of like define nihilism and talk a little bit more about, what that kind of stage was like for you personally. And I think as vulnerable as you want to be, it's up to you, but definitely a dark night of the soul for many of us.
Yeah, and for me too. So I'm going to continue the trigger warning that if hearing about suicidality triggers something in you, then this would be the time to walk away from this conversation, because we're going to go there. So for me, I lost Mormonism and then I lost Christianity, and both of those were painful. But losing God was more painful for me than losing Mormonism.
Same.
And losing kind of sense of self and free will and some of these other anchors at the same time. My Mormon deconstruction was hard and it was isolating, and it certainly rocked my world, but it was nothing. Honestly, it was nothing compared to losing everything, like losing every psychological anchor, losing God and sense of self, and really just feeling like a product of evolution that I couldn't control. Like that was really disorienting for me. Some people don't have a problem with that. I really, that.
So she believes that in just evolution, I guess, and we're just here and gone. But I don't believe in that. I see evidence of a grand architecture. So I don't believe it's just like
I don't know. She stated every. I think she's stating where
Oh,
she was
Where she was at that
at
point.
that point. I think. I'm not sure.
Oh, she didn't seem to speak like that at first, so that's why I was kind of surprised.
Well, she
Right.
said she lost God,
Yeah.
which is understandable.
Yeah.
Totally understandable.
Yeah, but you want
Another
to? I believe there's a grand architect or somebody's behind it. Whether I don't believe it's a male, I don't believe that part of it. But
well, she mentioned
there's-
the grand magic, which we don't understand. Which
Yeah,
I think she leaves. I think she leaves it open to discovering. That's what I think.
Okay.
You know, rather than having someone explain to her, look, this is it and this is it. Hello,
Hi,
Vern.
Vern.
What say you, Vern?
Hi everyone. You want to hear me now?
Yes.
Please.
I think we all go through mind stretching. So this Mormon gal, she's left, same as all of us. So we're all going through this mind stretching. And I read an article on this. They call it mind stretching. So we're stretching our minds, and it's painful. It's like exercising. It's like preparing for a marathon or something. But we're getting out of this religion. We have to stretch our mind. We now have to relearn everything. We have to learn that Satan's not wicked out there. Like it's all of this stuff was just confinement, kept to confine us into to worship men, and like you said, Joe, the governments are involved. The governments are paying these religions so much a seed as charities, tax-free money, and now there's a division. There's a division within the governments. There's a lot of religion in the governments. That's what's holding this all together. But now there's a division. There's enough people outside like us, and whether we're atheists or whatever you want to call us, but like us, like this girl, we stretched our minds. We realized that religion was a design. It was a design at the time of the Romans, basically the time of the Romans. But there's all this spirituality we're free to investigate. I notice MJ and Ryan, they have a thing. They're going to be looking into the a 9-thing episode. They've already scheduled. They're excited, right? And we're all free to explore and look at all kinds of things. We know that all these religions, Mormons, Seventh-day Adventists, they're all just designs, kind of the government supporting it all. If the government's tax freeing it, the government is paying it.
Well, they're prisons of the mind.
So, yeah, we're trapped. When you're in the religion, you're really trapped. So now we're out. We're floating around. It feels like, holy crap, I don't have any direction. I don't have God. But when you really learn the bubble of love, just build a bubble of love around you, the negative doesn't come in. It can't. Love is stronger. And I don't know, we don't understand the energies and the quantum physics of it all yet. But they're learning. I did that article the other day on neurotheology, and they're studying the mind through a MRI, monks and Catholic nuns and all kinds of people praying, not praying. And there's something that happens when people are praying to God. There's a God connection. And so neuroscientists are saying we're not here to disprove God or prove God. We're just doing the science behind it. And what we're finding is that people are wired to believe. So we're all wired to believe in something. Just like this girl said, when you get out, there's all kinds of things to believe in. There's the magic of life. You can believe in the magic of life, the energy. The word magic equals energy. I don't know if you read that, but magic equals energy. I remember when I was in the JW org, I wanted to study energy. The elders don't like that word, energy, studying energy. I said, there's energy around us. Different people walk in the room, you see different energy. We all put out energy. And we are all like Jello, the whole earth. So we're all just moving around. This energy affects us. And if you get the right energy going, pretty soon it spreads. We can spread energy. One person. We're here online. There's 4 of us, and there's 26 others watching. Then this video will sit there, and maybe 1,000 people will watch it over time. Well, we've just spread this energy.
That's
So if we put out good energy,
Yeah,
It
but then
spreads.
there are those over us, so to speak, in authority over us, that would say,
Mhm.
"Whoa, whoa, whoa! Too much spread, too much spread. You know, we want you sheep. We want you sheep to stay
Yeah.
here. We want you sheep here because we've got to fleece you. If you go spreading all over the place, we can't fleece you.
Mhm.
And then eventually we want to consume you. And that's the reality, is that they view us as sheep to be harvested.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with you, Joe. And more of us, I'm looking at the stats. It's right in the middle. 53% are saying no. Like there's enough people saying no to religion. I think we lost Joe's audio, but I'll check your audio, Joe.
Here, Ruby.
No. Okay, I'm going to get off the stage. This happened before. Okay, you guys have fun, and we'll play with Joe's audio.
Dan, yours sounds off too. Nobody's got mics on. I still didn't hear you. They're probably just gonna log out and come back in.
Hello.
Well, that usually works. So how you doing, Dan?
I think Dan
Yeah.
is still muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You're kind of low, but I do hear you. Turn up my volume.
Okay.
We're back. We're
Hello,
back.
can you hear us?
Yeah, I
Yes,
hear
there
you.
you go.
Okay.
Yeah, we had to drop out and come back.
So we
Your
were
sounds a
saying,
little low there, Ruby. For me,
okay,
anyway.
so we were saying hello to Ruby before we got cut off.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Hi, Ruby.
Speak up a little bit, Rube.
Okay.
Ring,
I
ring.
have a headset on, so I'll try to bring it
Oh,
down.
okay. Yeah, it's kind of low.
Hello?
Did you have any thoughts, Ruby, about, well, it's the story of religion, its future for us, your story, his story time, her story time?
Yes, I really like that third video that you guys played. Because I went through the exact same things, through the exact same stages, and it took almost 6 years to get to where I am now. So it does take a long time, because I think after coming out of the Jehovah's Witness cult or any other cult, you go through the 5 stages of grief, and you have to go through each and every one of them. And I didn't even know about those stages until I looked it up, because I was like, why am I feeling this way? Why am I going through all of these thoughts and not knowing how to handle them? You just feel just like so overwhelmed that you just don't want to think anymore, you don't want to live anymore, you don't want to go out anymore.
Oh, go ahead.
You don't feel like anybody's going to
Doesn't work.
understand you.
Well, don't use it.
So it's until you do that research that you can actually help yourself. And then you understand, oh, this is going to take so much more energy than you thought it would. And then once you reach the last stage of acceptance, then you can finally accept everything. And just sit there in that acceptance until you're ready to move on. And that took 6 years for me to finally accept everything. And then I did feel like, oh, maybe everything is fake. Maybe everything is a lie. Maybe we're just existing for no reason. Until I had to get rid of that so that I can get out of my depressive stage. Because you're never going to get out of there unless you change your mentality. Everything is in the mind. Everything is mental. And if you go to a doctor, they're going to tell you, oh, you're mentally ill, or you're bipolar, or you're just depressive. You're just depressed. Take this pill. And
Ruby?
I said, no, yeah.
Well, can I ask you, so what did you expose yourself to expand your mind?
Honestly, I stopped exposure. I just sat in my thoughts for a while, and I didn't want to think about anything until the universe gave me a sign, or if I was going through something and it provoked me to do research and go online. But I didn't push it. I didn't want to push anything. I just wanted to be open-minded and just listen to other people when they spoke to me about it, or if I was curious enough to ask them, then that would be the opportunity where I would just close my mouth and just listen. I didn't want to be the one preaching anymore. I didn't want to be the one teaching anymore. I was sick and tired of it. I want to be taught. I want to be preached to. I want to learn what you think.
Beautiful. Yeah, we share so much with each other. That's as far as we're concerned, everything good is around us, and I'd like to think that people would look to us for the same. And otherwise, why even bother being around other people? Why even bother? But there's beautiful reasons to be around each other.
Yeah, and it was the XJW community that is the only community that can help us navigate through that. If it wasn't for all of the people online, I probably would have not been able to survive that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that too, Ruby, because, thankfully, we have not heard of suicide lately. And I think it's because there is so much of the XJW community where people can either listen to it or get on or write comments. So it really is a saving.
I think the discovery has been the establishment of family. In other words, the biological family was attacked and failed the individual because now it was broken up. The person was free, was dangling without family support. The XJW community comes in as a chosen family. We choose each other for family. We choose each other to care for each other. And that's powerful. That is very powerful. So what I say is don't discount the need for family. But it may not be your biological family. Your biological family may very well be toxic. You may have to escape your biological family. It's the chosen family that you have to cultivate, that we extend ourselves for. Either we look for connection or we seek others who need connection. That is so, that's beautiful. That to me is what's providing the joy, the kind of joy that we heard last night with JP when he was explaining to us how wonderful it was to get in connection with other friends in a meetup. It's not just they have a great time talking and whatever. No, it was a spiritual connection. It actually was probably like getting closer to what some people would call source, something over us that's powerful, that supports us, and we find that in each other. I really believe that.
Okay, so sorry, I just remember this, but I was on a live chat yesterday with some random guy. It was a flat earth thing. Anyways, I'll often mention on the thing, I was in a cult or something to see if they bite, right? So when he did that, I said I was Jehovah's Witness. He said he had actually studied with Jehovah's Witnesses years ago. This was his story. This is like a YouTuber. He had said he had studied for about 9 months, but he said he was ready to commit suicide. He was like literally. He said I made a cup of coffee. He said I was on like I think he said 9th or 11th floor. He said I was going to drink my coffee and I was jumping off that building. And he said just then, he said, and it was weird because the guy got off on the wrong floor. He thought he was on like the 14th floor or something. He had gotten off, and so he was at the door he didn't even think he was at. You know what I mean? He said, and he studied with 9 months. He knew it was just, but he said that guy was going there like 5 hours a day for like 3 days until the guy actually got in trouble and had to stop studying with him because the guy was like, well, I'm not getting baptized. But the guy, because it was just that time, so it's not all bad. It's not
right.
That's why I'm like,
Right.
It's
That's
individual.
right. See, Pete, if they stuck to things like that, if they stuck to being interventionists and helpful and helping people grow and get strong, that would have been great. But they didn't.
No, they tried to end it. After a while, that's what ended it because he wasn't, back when the overdose
Right.
was,
They-
and
they-
that's
yeah,
when
they-
he got out
they-
on that. But the guy, and even before that, it was like the guy who was getting crap from everybody. You're spending too much time with this guy.
Yeah, he
what
wanted.
I needed at that time, and it was just the two.
Yeah.
And the one guy was a witness. So people, I think we could be used no matter who we are, where we are.
Oh my
I do
goodness,
too.
yes.
I
Oh
do
my goodness.
too.
Yeah.
It's just that
Yeah.
frequency. Are we going to vibrate at that high frequency and try to help people, or just the negative tear that guy down? And
Yeah.
who are we going to be? I want to be the positive guy.
It's a good question. Who are we going to be? Yeah, I like that, because we're left with that, and it's not like who does someone else say I should be. No, I'm not going to tell you what you should be. Why should you tell me what I should be?
Yeah, and the famous question is when you leave the organization,
yeah.
they'll say, well, where are you going off to? Or who are you going to? It's like, I don't have to go to anyone, It's like they make it sound like it's
think
the end
that's-
of the world.
And see, I think that's the response of a sheep who likes the corral,
Mhm.
and they can't understand life without being in a corral. Humans are not looking for corrals. Maybe individuals are. There are some individuals.
Mhm.
Just as an example, there are individuals who, after they've been in prison for a while,
Mhm.
they're not comfortable being out. They do whatever they can to get back into
in.
prison. They are not. That's scary. It terrifies them being out. Well, they need the institution, and you have to. I have to respect that institutions are needed for some individuals who require that kind of control. Personally,
Okay, so I got a jail story too. They threw me in jail for a while. I was like locked up 23 and a half hours a day. It was not great. But anyways, when I first got in my cell, and these were bad boys in there. When I first got in my cell, he was probably weighed as much as me, except he was muscle, not like me. First thing I walk in that cell, he quotes 1 Corinthians 15:33, says, "Bad association spoils useful habits." But he's like, I just looked at him. I was like, yeah, 1 Corinthians 15:33. And I said, that's actually the King or the New World Translation of that. I'm like, what's your association with it? So he told me, so he was actually raised a Jehovah's Witness. And it was
my
funny.
goodness.
So I actually had an easy time in there because I just happened to bunk with the Jehovah's Witness and we were cool. And he
Boy,
was
that
already
is
cool. Like he was a big guy.
fortunate.
He was a jail guy. So he was raised a Jehovah's Witness, but he was not a Jehovah's Witness. Anyway, that's my crazy jail story.
Beautiful. Well, so what? Thank you for sharing that too, Ruby. And we're here. We are sharing, and there's no restrictions on what we share. You self-restrict whatever you want to restrict. Because
Can you hear me better now?
yes,
that's much
yes.
Okay, cool. I got a real microphone now.
Wow. Nice.
But I did want to comment when you spoke about family is not going to be, biological anymore. That maybe other
Yeah.
people from our new family. I struggle with that because, and I'm glad we're talking about this because other people might need to hear this. But I joke about it all the time that being a Jehovah's Witness made me hate people because my mom forced me to always be like hospitable or always say hi to everybody at the hall and
I see.
go out in service. And it's like, oh, you need to love people. You need to love people and you need to talk to
Yeah.
them. And
Yeah.
that made the extremism made me hate it so much that I don't like talking to people. I don't like associating with people. I'm very like introverted, very homebody, very to myself, very I don't know, personality issues. But it's hard. It's hard because then when you lose all of the family that is already given to you by birth, you don't know where to go. And they're shunning you. You're not shunning them.
So
Right.
it's kind of like it's a fight with yourself, because it's like you guys are getting away from me. I'm not getting away from you. I want to associate with them, like I want this, but they refuse to give it. So that's like the mental hostage that they have, and you can't force people to be there for you. And then now that I have to like go outside and speak to strangers, and I'm like, oh God, I hate doing this, but you have to do it because not everything is going to be online, right? So that's why I go to this church, and I try to seek out a community of people so that you can have that, that family. But it's so hard because of the way we grew up. It's like our whole worldview is completely damaged by by the way we grew up. So you have to change literally everything, the way you view the world, the way you view people. You have to work on your social skills. You have to learn all of that all over, because the only reason why I was talking to people my whole life was because I was preaching to them. The only reason why I was going to people's houses and knocking on doors was because I was preaching. I wasn't talking about anything else other than religious topics. Propaganda. Just trying to recruit people to my kingdom hall. I was never talking to them because I wanted to get to know them, or to see how they're really doing, or to visit them because I actually cared about them. I hated it. So you have to completely change all of that. And I did that by myself. I didn't get therapy. I didn't get a life coach. Yeah, I didn't do any of those things. I didn't take any medication to change that about me or anything. But I know that other people do, and it worked for them, and I'm glad that they do. And that's why these topics should be spoken more about, because I did all of this solo. Like literally just Googled it, learned how to watch videos, or just continue talking to like a little circle. Have a little circle of people that you talk to online, and then move over to phone calls, move over to voice clips, then move over to in person. You know what I mean? Like you go through different stages of how to become a normal person in society. And I did that all by myself. And it's hard, but I rather do it by myself, because I went through my own pace on my own time. And everybody's different in that learning process, in that journey of overcoming that trauma, because I couldn't verbalize the trauma. I couldn't talk to somebody else about it. And through that, maybe it did take me a little bit longer, but I still got there. So even if you can't talk about it now, you can talk about it later. 6 years later, I'm still talking about it because I can actually verbalize it now.
Yeah. See, Ruby, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were talking about before how the governments control the religions, and the religions set these rules. Now, I don't care if you go to a Kingdom Hall or to the cute little Baptist church down the street. They all have this code of conduct, this charter, this mission statement, and
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all of them are the same formula. And I'm going to run this by you. I consider them all to be fundamentally arranged friendships. And that term applies to you're friends with these people, but the rules are and the conditions are. And none of it has to do with what you decide. So now all of a sudden, you have control of your destiny. You have the control to heal according to the way your instinct tells you.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And believe me, it was not in your head. It was not your imagination. When you were in the congregation, and I can remember talking to my closest friends saying, I really don't, no matter what Kingdom Hall I go to, I don't feel connected with these people. It's like there's something so fake about it. And it's because we were plugged into a channel that only controlled what we were to perceive from the friends around us. We were so afraid to get into discussion about anything because we were afraid that it would make it to the elder's office. This kind of behavior of fundamentally arranged friendships kind of robs you of your individuality.
Oh, it absolutely
And,
does.
and,
So-
and you're no longer operating under Ruby Quinn. You're operating under Ruby Quinn doing business as, and it's not a natural thing. So,
Well,
congratulations.
see, Dan, that's exactly what the government wanted. They don't want
Yeah.
people to discover their strengths. They want people to be tracked into a grade. You're in grade 1. Now you go to grade 2. Well, now you go to grade 3. Someone says, "Hey, man, I'm in grade 1. This stinks. I want to go to grade 4." And they say, "Oh, no, you must go to grade 2." In all ways, they want people for what they want them for. They don't want you to be a growing individual, an exploring individual, a discovering individual that you are. You are, Ruby. We all are discoverers. They don't want discoverers. They want slaves. Pure and simple. Pure and simple. And religion was designed to make
They wanted
slaves.
us to put on. They wanted
Happy
us to
slaves.
put on.
Happy. You've got to be happy slaves. Didn't work.
Yeah.
Didn't work. So now we discovered something called freedom, and we were designed to be that, whatever that's called, free. Free to this, free to that, free to share, free to discover, free to interact, free to make our own decisions.
What would everyone say to Dinah Lost? She's in the chat. She said, "I would get on, but I'm so emotional and have been through so many flashbacks the past couple of days that I would vent about. I don't want to take over the show. I talk too much." So what would you say to Dinah?
What I would say to Dinah, you come on if you want to vent. We'll cut you off. Lovingly.
You can't be crazier than me.
We'll lovingly cut you off. But it's okay, Dinah, please.
Yep.
In other words, don't be afraid of yourself.
Yes.
That's what we're here for. We don't want to hear ourselves speak. I mean, I don't even like the sound of my voice, but this is what we're here for. Vent.
Yeah.
I feel like if everybody waited until they were like fixed, then really what would you learn? Like you just
Nothing.
like, oh, they're great. So well, what can I learn from that? But
nothing.
There's
a saying in any endeavor. It says you fake it until you make it.
Yeah.
In other words, if we don't risk, if we don't step out when it's difficult or questionable, we'll never go forward. We'll never move forward. So it's okay.
And this is like a virtual meetup. We're
okay.
not meeting up in person, but this is the closest we can have a meetup, and with everyone sharing their, feelings, their ideas, their, lows, their highs.
And what I would say to Dinah,
I haven't been on in about a month, and I've been.
I know.
I haven't
missed you.
For a month, and here's the thing: I have a lot of energy right now. This is daytime. By the time 7, 8, 9 comes around, I'm so tired from doing all the work outside that I can't even follow. But I've been researching Jordan Maxwell.
Oh yeah.
So I've caught up with all your shows in the past, but my point is sometimes I'm feeling so tired and so overwhelmed with all the work that I'm doing in my yard and everything else that I don't come on. But here's the time. Like I just said, I wonder if Joe and Farina are on today, because I did catch a Tuesday event in the daytime, and I said, wow, they're doing daytime now. This is good. So I I fully understand Dinah's situation, and I've been missing action for a whole month, and we all go through this. It's a process.
Dan, you've been you've been taking care of yourself. You've been taking care of what you need to do. You've been strengthening yourself in whatever way you had to strengthen yourself. And
This
now,
ain't no watchtower. This ain't no Bible meeting. This ain't no have to. No more have tos. Fuck the watchtower. All the show up to a Kingdom Hall, clean a Kingdom Hall that's already clean, is no longer in existence here. Now it's about common sense. Just like Ruby Quinn is, you're carving your own place, and good for you, because we don't need any more pamphlets on how we should go about our daily lives. We don't need the watchtower explaining to us how friendship should move. Like, for instance, if you go, I can assure you that you've at some point been at a place like a supermarket or some event, some place, and you get into a conversation with someone and say, wow, I feel like I've known this person my whole life. The flow is just effortless to talk to this person. But you go to the Kingdom Hall, yet you know these people your whole life, and you feel like you start every meeting, you're getting to know them again. You're just introducing yourself. Hi, how are you doing? I am doing good. Yes, how are you?
I have a question about the watchtower. In security, like in New Brunswick here, I heard that they're hiring out the security now. Like before, the brothers would watch the gates and stuff at the conventions and everything. But what I heard is from now on, they're really upping the security. Like they're doing like zone, they're doing patrols around the parking lot and the hall. I don't know if that's just like if that's just a Canada thing, or if you guys have heard that they're really
Pete, what was happening all along is every convention when I was in, and this was back 10 years ago, we noticed that brothers weren't stepping up, they weren't volunteering to do these things at conventions, and it was getting to the point where one person had to do the work of 5 people.
Yeah.
So that was then. Now you're talking about.
Okay, so what I heard is now with all the changes with beards and just casual dress, they just had to out it to private securities. So I don't know if that's I heard a few things, but that's kind of just one.
Well, the other thing too that we've heard, with related or not to that, is that there are congregations that are objecting to the changes, and the next step may very well be like a schism, a split in this kind of them and that kind of them.
Yeah, there was one congregation that was dissolved because they didn't want to go along with the new changes.
Yeah. Errands.
Yeah. So exciting things are happening.
Oh, it is.
But the important thing is we're here for those that are leaving, those that are questioning, those that are waking up. Some of you may be listening right now. You may know some of your relatives. So please let them know that there is a place for them. We're welcoming you. You do not have to do this on your own.
No. And the question becomes, isn't what did they do to you? What did they do to you? What did they do to you? How bad they are. We know that. But the question is, okay, what are you doing about it? Because that's the only thing that's going to strengthen you. I know, Dinah, if you're still listening there, or any one of us, the things that we say to ourselves are either going to drag us down or they're going to strengthen us. So be very careful of that narrative that you continue in your mind. Be very careful. Every one of us has suffered some kind of loss or injury or abuse. Everyone, one way or the other. Be very careful of how you frame it and of how you move it forward, because you're either going to move forward limping or you're going to move forward being stronger, getting stronger. You're capable of being stronger, but you're going to be, what you do and what you say is going to be critical.
And also, there's someone out there that needs your help.
Yeah.
So we connected Dinah with a PMO that just came out in January. We just met her in Scranton on Sunday, and we spent Saturday and Sunday with her. And she's a beautiful person. She's just come out, and she's got all kinds of problems. And we connected her with Dinah because they're in close proximity, and they're going to get together and
Yeah.
have coffee or something. So Dinah, you are valuable. You are going to help out. You know who I'm talking about. And you're going to help her out because you have so many insights
Yeah.
and gone through things. So between the two of you, you're going to help each other be strong.
Yep.
And that's what this is all about.
See, that organization, the Watchtower organization, is really, they're going down. They're doing themselves in. We don't have to do a thing about them. We don't have to do one thing about them. They're making all the mistakes they possibly could. They're going down fine. The question becomes, what about the individuals that are in? You know, the ones that either want to leave or the ones that maybe don't want to leave, but yet they're going to be let down. They're going to be abandoned, or they're going to be just, they're going to be shunted off into something else. Well, what about them? See, they're not thinking about their future. So we need to be mindful of them. There's going to be a lot of people to care for, and we can care for them.
There's Dinah. Hi, Dinah.
Hello, Dinah.
Thank you for
Hi,
coming.
Dinah.
Hi, everybody.
Look at you.
Can you
You're
guys
out.
hear me? Can you guys hear
We
me?
can hear you.
Yes.
Good. I got my little earbud things in, so I don't really know how well they work.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
No, yeah, I'm at the beach. I don't know if you guys can see it.
It looked
Oh, yes.
like it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which beach are you at?
Atlantic Beach in North Carolina.
Oh, nice. That's right. You said you were going to North Carolina this week.
Yeah, we came for a reunion for my mother-in-law. She has 4 sisters. So they had a reunion. They went to the beach yesterday together, and they had a reunion the day before. And it was nice to see their family. But it was. See, I'm already starting to cry. I can't even I feel it. I feel the tears. I'm
That's
I'm not doing
okay. You can cry. That's okay. We all cry.
So, being around family and they're talking to each other and not, they're being civil and nice. And it's just not an experience that I've seen outside of, I guess, Jehovah's Witness. We had groups and we had fun things. We had get-togethers and we made food and got together, and it was that was the thing that they made you want to miss. If you leave, you're not going to have any of this, so you're going to be by yourself. You're going to be alone. And essentially, that's what I made myself. I isolated myself. Looking back at it, there was no reason why I needed to put myself in the social bubble the way that I did. But because I was traumatized by so many different events, I couldn't handle trying to accept myself. Therefore, I knew no one else could accept me, so I didn't try. I didn't try to make friends or get different people. So I've been alone with my husband. He's always been with me, but he's taking care of me. He saves me anyways from the cult, because if it wasn't for him, I probably would have been on the street still. Or I would have eventually figured it out, but I didn't have to stay in my car for very long because of him. So seeing his family and seeing family get together, it's a sad trigger because I have such a big family, and that's just not going to happen. I mean, I'm sure they have get-togethers and stuff, but I'm just not a part of it, and I don't know about it.
Dinah, just a question. The aunts that you got together with, were they Jehovah's Witnesses?
No, so this is on my my husband's side. So
okay. So they were never Jehovah's Witnesses. So they're all having a good time, and they're just
Oh, yeah.
enjoying each other, and you never saw that growing up.
No, no, not only in the the witness gatherings, but
Right.
all
Which,
all of my family were witnesses and are
yeah.
witnesses, aside from my brother who's dissociative. Um, so we don't get together.
Okay. Right. No, I understand. So you have your husband's, and her husband was never a Jehovah's Witness, so it was her husband's aunts, and they all got together, and they were having
Mhm.
a good time without any conditions or, you know, you have to do
Right.
this,
There was no
do
there
that.
was no, oh well, you can go, but so and so can't come because
Right.
they watched a rated R movie and they're not in good
Yeah.
standing. Like it's just the dynamics is just different. And
Yeah.
that was hard to go through, but like I said, on the previous when I was talking to you guys and said this was really hard for me. We also before we came here, my daughter had a ball game to go to because she was singing the national anthem, and that was very emotional for me because of what I went through in school growing up as a witness. Because I was in band. Um, I was in dance, and then I was pulled out of dance because music was a big thing for my mom. And now looking back at Watchtower, I remember those magazines that they came out talking about music, and I was like, this is insane. Like how much, did we do things based on what, the suggestions of the Watchtower, the suggestions of the Awake, like how many life decisions did we make? Like the decision I made to be a nurse, when I was younger, which I didn't do it, but that was my goal. And then I go back looking around the time that I was in school and thinking about college, and there was a nurse magazine, and I'm just sitting there going, is there any thought of my own? Like, did I ever have a thought of
Right. Right.
my own? Looking at
Yeah.
the kids doing the national anthem, I got all teary eyed, and I was like, when I was in school, my biggest one with politics and those songs that we couldn't hear was in band camp. And after 9/11, everyone was patriotic, and everyone was,
Mhm.
we are Americans, we stand together. So it was very heightened emotion, especially in the South. And so our band decided to do God Bless America and some other patriotic shows in their halftime show. So I, being a Jehovah's Witness, could not do that, but I also could not participate because marching in the marching band is literally class. So I had to march in attention to the front of the field when those songs started, and I had to stand there at attention while those songs were going
Oh
on. And the
dear. Wow.
people were
Mm.
yelling and screaming. And I was like, here I am, a little high school girl, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I'm just trying to do, what I'm told, what my family thinks is right. But it was very hard for me because it was almost like I was in the middle of a crowded room, butt naked. Because the comments, they weren't even paying attention to the song because I was such an eyesore sticking out in front of everyone saying, I'm not going to do this. It was hard. And so it's like that's been going through, and it's like there's a lot of stuff. The things about how I talked with my mother-in-law, and I kind of, I exploded because I was tired, and not an excuse, not a good excuse, anyways. But I apologized afterwards, and I said, "Look, I am really trying to work on my triggers, and I'm trying to work on the things that reasons why I react the way I react to things, and why I get defensive when I do." And I'm sitting there going, well, it makes sense because I went door to door for days. It only takes 30 days to create a habit. And I went door to door and I called people, I wrote letters, I did everything I could to communicate with people. And I ended up with so much resistance. And it's like I am used to anything that I say is going to get resistance. So now, anytime I say something, if somebody responds to it, it's like this brick wall is up. It's like, I'm not telling a lie. Like I'm all of a sudden, I'm in this defense mechanism of somebody's responding to me, in a negative way, or they're not, they don't see what I'm saying, and it's just like my hair starts standing up. And it's because I was in a habit of doing that every day. Every day I did that. I was ready. I was ready to fight. I was ready to respond and protect what I was saying. And I did it for years. So now I naturally do it when I shouldn't.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that, Dinah. Well, I think in fighting for things, I mean, unfortunately, most of us do have to fight for something in our life. We really do. We really do. And sometimes if a person fails to fight for it, it will not happen. And they usually have to be encouraged, to fight for it, encouraged to. So, I mean, at least, you've got that nature. You've got that nature of fighting. I'm wondering, how have you found it to be helpful for you now that you're out and helping your child to grow?
I don't know if it's helpful or just hard, because I want her to enjoy all these things, but I'm constantly wondering, like, if I let my child do this, is this wrong? Like, this person's looking at me and looking at, oh, my kid doesn't have shoes on, and I'm scrambling around to find shoes so that I don't offend somebody, or somebody says something about my kid not having shoes on. Like, this all day long, I am judging myself about everything I do, everything that I do about my kids, everything. So it's like,
Right.
I'm trying to let
Right.
them.
Well, let me ask you this, Dinah. Dinah, how will you know if you're doing the right thing or not?
I have no clue. I
Well,
guess if I
okay,
don't-
okay, fair enough. You have no clue. How do others determine whether or not they're going to do the right thing?
I have no clue. They make them.
Well, okay, fair enough. You're saying what's helpful. You're saying you have no clue. How do you suppose you can get a clue?
Ask questions and communicate.
There you go.
And
See,
it's just
there's
hard
no
for
easy
me
way.
because
There's no
communication
there's no simple way. You need see exposing yourself to others who are going through the same thing you're going through. You're going to learn. You're going to find out. And unless you do that, you're not going to have a clue. In other words, you're going to isolate yourself in that little world. And that's probably more abusive than you really need. See,
But
some-
I get to a point where I don't want to fight anymore, because everything is a fight. Everything I do is a fight. Like, it's like I gotta make sure that I say this appropriately, and I gotta make sure that I do this appropriately, and it's just like,
Well,
I
what
don't know,
happens if you
what
don't?
is appropriately?
Well, let me ask you, so what happens if you don't do that?
I guess it depends on what it is.
No, I mean, does something explode, or do you fall apart, or what happens if you fail to do what you think you should do? Well, does anything happen, or is it just in your mind?
Some of it is most of it's in my mind.
Okay,
Most of
fair
it is a
enough.
battle with
I
myself.
understand. They say
And
the
it-
biggest
and it-
thing. They say the biggest thing that constrains us is in our mind.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, if that's probably going to be the biggest hurdle you have to overcome.
Mhm.
In which case, you will need to fight to overcome that hurdle. You will. Yeah.
Anyone have any suggestions for Dinah, Dion, or Ruby, Peter?
Yes. If you're at the beach, can you hear me?
Yeah.
If you're at the beach right now, go put your feet in the sand and build yourself a sandcastle and say to yourself, this is the expression of my creativity. And you know what? When you do things like that, when you simply go down to the beach, put your feet in the sand, you're grounded, and you're in touch with yourself. You're in tune with yourself. All the external thoughts in your head of negativity come from just pondering over things that you have no control over. There's a problem up here in the Northeast. We have more cloudy days than sun. But when there's a sunny day, you feel alive again. But on those cloudy days, you could either choose, and it's a matter of choice, you could either choose to sit in a chair and say it's a cloudy day, or get your clothes done, get the floor mopped, all these things.
I like the idea of going to the beach, taking your shoes off, grounding yourself right in, touching, and don't think about where you are. Think about where you want to be in the future, and then just imagine that whatever you want for the future is crazy, is big, and just think about that, and then just go in that direction. Don't figure out how. Don't all the details. Forget about that. Just start moving in that direction, and it's the first thing is the thought. That's the power. Think about where you want to be. If it's happy, if it's a condition of the mind, or if it's in another place, you're in a pretty nice place. I kind of want to be where you're at right now,
I know.
Just imagine that.
It is nice. It is very nice.
And you have us.
Part
of
what I told my mother, I said I love the beach and I love the water, but this time is such a difficult time for me. I don't want to ruin my favorite places in the world with the crap that goes through my mind, especially in the month of May. Like, I don't want to ruin my happy places by being around them.
How do you ruin it?
I mean,
Well,
my
Dinah-
thinking is wrong. My thinking is wrong. I'm quickly getting that, but that was the beginning of this trip. I was like, I don't want to do this. I want to be here because it's on my head, and I don't want that to ruin where my beautiful place is. But I went to
How
the
do you
beach
ruin
this
it?
morning.
See, how does she ruin it?
And I collected some shells
So it's just thinking.
while everybody was sleeping.
Dinah, can you
And-
help me?
Yes.
Can you help me, Dinah? How is it? So you're the beautiful. How is it that you say this? How is it you ruin it? I don't understand that. How do you ruin it?
With creating bad memories and places that I love, like with all the things that.
But no, I
that
understand.
happened
So you
with-
create the memories, but how does it ruin it? I don't understand it. What do you mean it ruins it?
When I look back at something, I don't want to remember crying on a porch while I'm looking at the beach. I don't want to remember crying. Period. Like in a beautiful
So
place.
you don't.
I cry all the time. I used to cry like when I would drive a lot and just like I drive for a couple hours. I would just get my cry out. Now, last time I cried, there was all people there. I didn't give a crap.
Yeah. So is there a law? Is there
I
a
don't
law
care if I
against? Is
cry
there a
or-
law against crying?
Crying makes you
I
feel
mean,
good.
there used to be. There was.
There's a
when I was
law
aware.
against crying. Now
For
wait
a
a
guy,
minute. Wait
it's
a
been
minute.
worse.
Wait a minute.
I
Wait.
could not cry. I could
Let's
not
keep.
cry. I was
That's
told
not a law.
lots of
That's
times
not a law,
in the
Dinah.
Kingdom Hall,
Dinah,
do
that's
not.
not a
Why
law.
why do you look that way? You're supposed to be smiling. You're supposed to be smiling because if you're not smiling in the Kingdom Hall, then you're stumbling someone. I'm like, yes, but you realize that guy molested me over there. You want me to smile? So I'm always smiling.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually want to add. I actually want to add a few thoughts for Dinah. It's 50-50. It's 50% mental, 50% emotional, right? Because we're physically okay, but the problem is emotional and the problem is mental. And you have to. There's a few things that I'm gonna let you know what helped me. Okay, these are my opinions. This is just my experience.
Yeah.
But I had to talk to myself in my mind. Like I had to have conversations with myself all the time and just cry by myself or just be by myself in the room or just daydream, just stare at the wall and daydream. Because I used to think, why am I still here? I'm 28 years old. I'm not supposed to be here. I should have been in paradise already. Why am I feeling this way? why am I getting older? I'm not supposed to be here. So I feel like every day is an extra day lived, even though I've never had a near to death experience. But it's all emotional and it's mental because we don't know how to survive a certain pass of time, or we're not reaching a certain goal in our life when we should have reached it already. And then you feel anxious, like, oh, I should have done this. I should have gone to college. I should have already been at certain stages of my life and I'm not there. And then we feel depressed, anxiety, like, and you want to push it, but then you're doing all of these things and you're juggling everything, and then everything falls apart, and then you're it's like everything is crashing down. But you got to stop all that, and you just have to be in the present, like other people have mentioned. Enjoy what's happening in the now. Don't worry about the future, don't worry about the past, just worry about right now. And if you have to redo the vacation or redo the visit because you don't want to remember how bad you felt or whatever, something happened emotionally at that point, then do it again. Go back to the beach, redo the vacation, wear the outfit again, like have the birthday again, or, do things twice if you have to relive the moment that you want to have it the way you want it in your mind. Because not everything is going to happen perfectly, but we can set things up so that we can have it the way we want. There's many things that I had to like do over, and even though I didn't accomplish something, or I dropped out of college, or I lost my mind at one point, it's like you have to let that go and just say, you know what, I'm gonna do this when I'm ready. Like I said before, it took me 6 years to verbalize everything that I had to go through in the past because I couldn't even talk about it. I could talk to myself about it, but I couldn't talk to another human person about it. I didn't want to cry in front of a therapist. I didn't want to talk to a doctor. I didn't want to take a pill. I needed to do it myself, or like I used to go in the closet and close the door because I had 3 kids and nobody to help me. So I would just go to the closet and close the door and just sit there because I needed to recenter myself. You can't run away from everything physically, right? We can't run away from everything, but we have to handle it emotionally and mentally as slowly as possible so that you don't have a trigger in the future. Because like 90% of the time when we are triggered, it's because we haven't fully healed from the thing that triggers us. And that's why it triggers you, because you never healed from it. And if you do need to talk to somebody about it, then you go to the professional avenue to talk about it. But in my case, I didn't do that. I just did it with myself because I grew up by myself. I'm an only child. So I was always alone my whole life. And that's the only way I know how to handle problems is alone, because I feel like I'm the only person who can do everything right. Because when I do it myself, you know how they say, like, if you want it done the right way, do it yourself. Because honestly, that's the best way. It's for me to handle it the way I know how to, because I'm the only one who has to live this life. I'm the only one who has to raise these kids. I'm the only one that has to do everything in my life. So if there's a problem or anything arises, I need to figure it out. As long as it takes, talk to yourself, handle yourself, get to know yourself, do things that you know is going to make you happy. And don't put yourself in those situations where you know you're going to blow up, or you know that it's going to trigger you because you didn't heal from that. I've had many conversations with my husband where I was like, listen, this bad thing happened, but I don't want to talk about it ever again because I know that it's going to trigger me. So let's not even talk about it. Don't even bring it up. Don't joke about it. Don't even give me a story about it. Nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about it. And until 5 years later, it came up, and I'm like, oh, like I had like that defense. Whoa, I don't want to talk about this because I know that this is gonna trigger me. But then I allowed it. I let the time pass, and I allowed the conversation to go. And even though it is uncomfortable and it bothered me, but then I got over it. And then I was able to talk about it. And then I realized, oh, okay, I'm better from this. I took 5 years. Now I can actually verbalize it and talk about it. So, you have to give yourself that time and give yourself the energy back and be in the present, because that's what really works.
I feel like a lot of times I can't afford no $100 a week for one therapy session, especially since I don't really have one that knows about Jehovah's Witness and cults. I kind of do, when I ask them, and then when I started going back, she didn't really do any research on it, whatnot. So it was like she wasn't really invested in my healing as much as I was. So I was like, look, this is already. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm reading stuff. I'm trying to work on my emotions. One of my biggest things that I have trouble with, and maybe you guys can help, is the fact that everything that goes through my mind about what, like even going to pick shells and walking on the beach this morning that I did by myself, because I was like, you know what, everybody goes to sleep and I'm awake at like 5 a.m. I'm gonna go enjoy the beach. But then there's people on the page, and they look at you, and I'm like, is it because I'm fat? And is it because, blah, 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 blah. All this stuff is negative, hurtful things go through my mind because that's the way my family felt about me. They called me fat all the time, and it was always about appearance. It's like, well, should I wear these shorts? And these shorts too short? And then, do I have cottage cheese legs? Am I gonna gross somebody out? It's just
You gotta
so
stop
much.
caring about what people think. You gotta
I
get that
know,
out your head.
I
You
know,
gotta get it
but
out. You gotta don't care about what people are looking at. Don't care about what people think about. You gotta, if it's okay with you, then it's okay. You wear what you want to wear. You go where you want to go. You have the meltdown where you want to have it, because that's what's gonna help you move forward. You can't always think about what other people are thinking or judging you, because you already know everybody's judgmental. We are
Hey,
all judgmental. We
it doesn't
always have
matter who you
opinions.
are. It
so
doesn't
how
matter
do
who
I
you are or
respond?
what you do. Somebody's going to judge you. So just worry about making yourself happy and let the judgers judge.
Right. And you
So
have to
how
you have to
do I
continue going.
respond to those comments that don't mean anything? Like the general public makes comments, people make comments that don't mean anything, but then my brain thinks that they're saying it because of how do I respond in a way that it's like a confidence thing? I don't have anybody else know that too. I guess I don't know. So what do I say when people say stuff like, "Well, why are you doing it this way?" I get like my shoulders go up, and I'm like, "Why are you? What difference does it make why I'm doing whatever I'm doing in whatever way I'm doing it?" Like I don't know how to respond in a confident, non-negative, aggressive, attacking back way. I guess I don't know how to make sense either. Anyway,
You kind of
Yeah,
broke
you
up.
have to deprogram all that. It's a lot of programming from the way we were raised. And that's the hard part. You have to deprogram all of that. And that will change your worldview, because right now you feel that way. But sometimes you got to do the work mentally to deprogram everything that you think about, everything else that's not about you. That's in your mind. That's why I said 50% of it is mental, because we have to change our mentality and how we view people and how we go about our interactions. Because I've also had the same thing. I always used to second guess myself. I didn't have the confidence. I gained so much weight from having kids that I felt disgusting. Like it was so much about me, and how the world views me, and how they're gonna look at me, or how do I look in this outfit or whatever. And I had to get rid of that, because I'm like, I'm not gonna enjoy myself if I keep thinking about everything else around me. And that's what you gotta deprogram out of your mind and be like, you know what? I'm just gonna make believe like I'm the only person walking down the street right now.
It's in your mind.
I'm the only one here right now.
It's in your mind, but it's been programmed in there by other people. So you just have to recognize that they're liars. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They need to mind their own damn business, and you don't even care what the crap. You know, because that's really what's happening. We've been programmed to say, "You're no good. You're no good. You need the perfect sacrifice." All this, and that's all. That's all programming, and that's only just a small part of it. Like you say, "Oh, you don't look quite right," or whatever, man. I doubt
no,
that
I
one.
mean it's awful to feel like you have to look a certain way to be good enough to be Jehovah's People.
Unrealistic ideals. They give you something you can't even live up to and say, because you don't live up to this, that's part of it too. And it's like, that's what you got to recognize. Hey, this is a load of crap.
Yeah,
Who the heck's saying that? The fake people are saying that? The AI saying that? Well, kiss
see,
my ass.
Dinah, you have certain set feelings in your mind. You do. Whatever reasons, you are very strong-minded in your feelings. You're going to give yourself the opportunity. You're going to give yourself the opportunity to think differently, but it's going to be in your time, and it's going to be according to your schedule. And that's probably the most difficult thing for anybody to have to accept, that they need to take time. And
Yeah.
you know, you wish it would be faster. Other people say, "Boy, I wish it would be faster," but it doesn't work that way.
Well, I got kids to take care of. That's why it's like I don't have time for me. Like, you know, just go away.
Well,
Like
that
just
is you. No,
just
see,
needs to
that
go
is
away.
you.
I don't have
It's
time
not that
for
you
that.
don't have time for you. That is you.
Yep.
That is you. That is you. It's not that you don't have time for you. You have to accept the fact that is you. And when you are ready, you will institute a change. When you are ready. And that's valid. When you're ready. I'm the same way. When I'm ready. Fran's same way. When she's ready. When any one of us here. No one makes a move because I want them to. And I don't make a move because you want me to. It's when I'm ready. And that's probably the most frustrating thing that anyone has to deal with. We keep ourselves waiting. We keep
You get to
ourselves
a
waiting.
point that I know the work that I need to do and the work that needs to be done, and it's going to take a lot of time. And I don't want to do it because it's going to take a lot of time, but I'm doing it anyway. But then I get to a point that I'm just like, you know what I really want to do? I can't say out loud because everybody would be like, okay, we need to put her in a hospital, and then it's like I just, you know, I've made it this far, and I think that's good enough, and that's where my mind goes. I'm like,
Good for you.
I
Good
don't
for
want to fight
you.
anymore. I don't want to fight
Do what
anymore. But
you know what? Do what you want to do. Do what you want to do so that you say, I'm glad I did what I did today. I'm glad I did what I did today. I'm glad.
And Dinah, you said that you don't want to fight
what I
anymore.
want to do though is a dark place. That's why it's a dark place of where I want to go. So it's not. No, I
Well,
can't
Well,
do what
maybe
I
why
want
don't
to
you,
do.
why
What
don't,
I
why
want
don't
to
you,
do is
why don't you,
it's not.
maybe you can
Yeah.
choose something else. See, when you're ready, you'll choose something else. When you're ready.
Yep. Give yourself time.
I
Give
make it out
yourself
of the fight.
love.
I just hope that I make it. I know that it's a long road. I just hope I make it down that long road. Because sometimes I don't know that I'm going to wake up the next day.
Understand, Dinah, understand
And
that there's someone right next to you. Understand that there's someone right next to you in that same situation. They are. And they're going to need you as well to support them. Understand that.
And you talk about a
you're simply
therapist,
not alone.
you talk about a therapist, but we all understand what you went through. Well, parts of us understand probably everything, you know, somebody,
See?
and we're here to help you. You don't have to pay for it. Just, I'm
You
sure
guys,
you talk.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Dinah, I actually understand what you mean by not wanting to go down to the beach because you don't want to create bad memories of a beach. And I'll tell you why. I'm the same way with music. And if I've got clinical depression. Bottom line, if it's a cloudy day, I'm going to be depressed. On those days, there's certain music that I won't listen to because I say, I don't want to contaminate this song with what I'm experiencing right now. I'll wait for another day. And believe me, that day comes and, you know, you'll be able to listen to that song again.
Yeah.
But one time I said, you know, I'm sick and tired of putting off, turning up my stereo. Today I'm going to do it. And, you know, sometimes you'll be surprised. It's all actually in your head that all right, today it's cloudy. I'm depressed. And probably today is a day that you don't want to go down to the beach because you don't want to continue your memory of being down the beach while you're depressed. But I think you're in a perfect place right now talking to us. And it's my hope that after this conversation, you'll be able to say, all right, I'm refreshed. I'll try the beach again. I'll try the beach. And maybe it might be totally different than you think.
Okay, there's something about water too. Whatever water is, it's connected to the source. That's a fact. So you take off your sound is off, Joe. I assume you can still hear mine. Anyway, so when you go to the beach and you walk on the beach, you're actually connecting really to source. So it's probably the best thing for you. She's disconnected too. Joe, you're not coming through. I'm not hearing your sound.
I'm hearing you, Pete.
So how you doing, Dan?
Today I'm kind of in between depression and it depends. The sun seems like it wants to come out, but it's like if it was sunny out, I would be out planting. Because it's cloudy, I'm saying, oh, what's the use? So it's pretty much the same scenario when you have clinical depression. Each day you get up, you have to say, if today isn't a good day, tomorrow will be. So I'm just probably gonna go outside anyways and do something to be constructive.
You like the sun? I'm doing the same thing now. Like I love to be right out in the sun. But before I prefer like a cloudy or a rainy day. Rainy day because you don't see anybody outside. Everybody else has gone inside, so I can go down to the beach and walk along the beach in the rainy day and nobody's there. So that's kind of like one of the things I like. And the cloudy day because I worked outside a lot. So in the sun, if you're beaten in the sun all day after day, you appreciate that cloud cover once in a while. But I do appreciate now just the sun, just the ray of sun. It's like it charges you almost. And I find even in the nighttime now, I'm spending more time outside at night, like just looking up. You ever go to the night and see? I don't know if you can where you are, but just see like the stars and all and the moon and it's great out there. Like I just
Yay,
now
everybody's back.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
look.
just
Look,
just
I'm going to break in right now. This is wonderful what's taking place, but Sean and Vern have an important appointment, and we're past due.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
we appreciate everyone coming
Yeah.
on. Thank you, Dinah, for coming on. Enjoy the beach. I
Yeah.
wish I was there. Make a sand castle. Do something.
Just
Just enjoy.
You guys always do make me feel good. I like I said,
Well,
I'm doing fine. I'm doing well. I just have to make myself reach out. That's my biggest thing. Is that when I get bad, I go into a hole. So I know what I need to do. I just have to do it.
That's right.
Sometimes all we have to do is get over it.
That's right.
And if we know, if I just get over it, it'll be good. And I hope we've
And
helped.
the beach is beautiful. Water is healing. I recommend for everyone. All kinds of water.
Enjoy.
We love you, Dinah.
We love you.
Love
we love
everyone.
Dan and Ruby and Peter and everyone that came on today.
And
Thank
Sean
you
and
so
Verna
much.
for putting this, helping us this to happen.
Yes, thank you so much. I enjoyed it.
Love you.
Thank you all.
Okay. Have a great rest of your day.
Yes.
Bye.
Like Vern says, keep living your life with love. Love you all.
Love you. Bye.